Let's get cracking. I started out by remembering to get wood from my base after forgetting it in the magenta wall.
Oh, we forgot wood.
This is a Heisenberg tier character arc. Accompanying me on my journey into Yenlow is Aviatic, who will be needed because I'm telling you in advance, this one sucks. Entering the dungeon, the first mobs that greeted me were these invisible spiders, who were quickly joined by these skeletons protesting lockdowns by lighting themselves on fire. Fucking Melburnians. Giving them the runaround, I helpfully broke this one piece of sand before retreating to the entrance to yeet over these invisible super jump death spiders. Busting open this chest full of blocks, I began taking out spawners, which were helpfully marked by these sandstone slabs. Thanks, Quail Cakes. I'm sure the rest of the area will be an oasis of fair design. Once this section was clear, I followed the Alpha Chad strategy guide and dug into this wall to avoid the big scary spiders, who it turns out dropped sand. I'm sure there will be no consequences to letting me craft TNT. Defending the lava lake were these two gas spawners, but like the ones in the white wall, they could be destroyed with a few good bow shots. This time, I actually managed to shoot out the TNT, mostly because I brought dozens of arrows instead of 4. That was especially true of the second spawner. 2 shots and it was done, like me at the pub. In this chest were more ranged armaments, so after looting them I headed across the lake to this pit, which was guarded by the same enemies as the cave entrance, some of whom began to swim through the lava after me like creatures of pure fucking will. After shooting the lake full of bullets, I cleared the island easily, including this spawner which was hidden under a fucking block. Not trusting these cobwebs to save me from this massive drop, I elected to dig the whole way down with wooden tools. Emerging into the lower cavern, I breathed a sigh of relief, because no matter how bad the dungeon was, I could take solace in the fact that it was also fucking huge. Once I was near the floor, I did the obvious thing and began running around again, because if there's anything an absurdly hard map doesn't require, it's caution. Lighting up this area's many spawners, it became apparent how much of a death trap jumping into the cobwebs would have been, and frankly, I'm appalled by Quailcake's violation of our sacred trust. For shame. Rating this 10, I was disappointed to find that the loot also sucked, though I shouldn't have been surprised since canonically I might have just raided the last shelter of Incon's homeless population, who are unlikely to be big on material goods. I don't understand. Why didn't they just choose to buy a house? I have such a good understanding of the economy, guys. Please elect me to Republican office. My suspicion that this was a bad neighborhood was quickly confirmed when I set off these 2 blaze spawners. They'll really let anyone move in these days. Whoever this guy was, his tent had torches. Fucking welfare queen. So I took them before getting out of this bad neighborhood to find a more hospitable home. Like this lava fall. Between this creeper and the mounting sound of silverfish behind the wall, something was definitely not right about this area. So I dug around the lava pool to investigate. Breaking this block, I had only milliseconds to react when this Mach 6 creeper rounded the corner and, taking advantage of my lowered shield, exploded me, incinerating most of my stuff. Respawning, I re-geared and headed back into Yenlow, only pausing when I forgot the location of the gigantic sandstone tunnel I'd carved into the dungeon. My previous death had occurred because, instead of using my shield, I'd tried to place a block between me and the creeper, who was too fast to barricade off. Now that I had no shield, the only thing preventing this from happening again was the grace of God, who's never been my biggest fan, especially after I made all those jokes at the expense of the homeless. My suspicions were proven right when I re-entered the lava fall, stepped in lava, and immediately burned to death. Fortunately, it looked like a good amount of my stuff had survived, though there was only one item I really cared about. Without the skeleton skull, I faced a very real threat of not being able to complete the map, and for all I knew, it was actively despawning or had been incinerated in lava. I had to get back there. Arriving back at the lava fall, I blocked off the creeper tunnel and collected the ground loot, but the skull was nowhere to be found. Digging into the place of my 5th death, I cycled through the items on the floor when...
It's here. Get fucked.
We were fucking back. Digging through the creeper tunnel, I found this very helpful chest, which aided me not at all in breaking these blaze spawners and advancing through the main cavern. Ascending this wall, I grabbed some bread-related products, did some torch running, and broke this blaze spawner. With my health being whittled down, I was in quite the pickle, until... And when you really need it the most, that's when convenient double eating comes through. Midway through explaining the AC/DC lore to Aviatic, my pilgrimage to this nearby tent stopped dead when I saw this. This was not good. Disheartened, I explored in the other direction, only to find this. With creepers to the left of me and creepers to the right, I was caught between a rock and a hard place regarding what to do. Heading in the more promising direction, I was forced to pillar up after more of God's most powerful creepers spawned, a situation not helped by this spider ascending the pillar to get me. However, this did provide me with an idea. So in a total break from character, I began bridging through the area to avoid the bombs below. Furthermore, though the area was expansive and filled with loot, the shittiness of the treasure I'd found meant that all of that could be ignored in favour of one simple mission: getting the wool. So, disregarding the nearby chests, I began bridging towards the most promising indicator of wool to come, which was this giant lava cavern. Now of course, this strategy was not very blaze or skeleton resistant, so it might come as a total surprise that I remained completely oblivious as I bridged towards what was obviously a blaze spawner. I was able to kill a couple of them, but then, inching closer to get a clearer shot on the last one, I promptly spawned even more. After clearing out wave 2 of blazes, I instead opted to bridge away from the spawner to the wall of this cavern, taking care not to get caught in a vine and slowly descend into instant death. Above me was this bridge, which looked promising, and in the middle of the cavern was another destroyable gas tower. Before I could even think about breaking it though, I received some troubling news from above. And I don't mean Jesus.
That's not a good sign.
These ghasts were coming from different spawners, meaning that even after I destroyed the central tower, I was still going to risk being exploded if I chose to climb up. It was time to dig. Rather than recount every block I broke, I'm just going to bring back the pickaxe counter for round 2. Eventually I reached the level of the bridge, and after ignoring the intended path up, the next step was to reach the other side. You'll never guess how. Now that I'd dug almost all the way to the roof, I could get a glimpse of the upper cavern, and there was good news awaiting me. The wool was in sight, and all I had to do was get across this bridge. Now, this wouldn't be as easy as it seems. I would either have to run across, dig even further, or build an elevated tunnel. To make things worse, my primary block sandstone wasn't even blast resistant, so any tunnel would be very susceptible to ghasts as I painstakingly placed every block of the 2x1 shaft. Well, that's ignoring the ceiling. For whatever reason, Quail Cakes made this glass ceiling not 1, not 2, but 3 blocks thick, meaning I could tunnel through it easily and all I'd have to do was build a walkway beneath me. Even better, ghasts were pretty much unable to see me in this position, so exploiting this crucial oversight, I constructed this devious tunnel above the cavern. After shooting out a ghast spawner, I made my way safely to the wall defending the wall and, hearing mob sounds, did the obvious thing and dug towards them. After finding and breaking the self-immolating skeleton spawner guarding the wall, I dutifully destroyed another wood pick and neutralized this fire-charged creeper spawner. Missing this helpful loot, I burrowed through the wall until I saw the familiar gleam of polished granite and acquired the yellow wool. I made my way out, being careful to sprint past this creeper spawner as quickly as possible, before returning to Int 2 and safely depositing the yellow wool. This episode was a fucking pain. It might have been short for you, but believe me, I felt all 13 of those wood picks like they were being personally shoved up my arse. Join me next time as we take a break from endless caves to instead take on caves. See you guys then.